Chelsea reportedly about to sign Athletic Bilbao goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga, and also apparently about to get Real Madrid's Mateo Kovacic on loan, as well as possibly even signing Nabil Fekir from Lyon. Plus, of course, the review of Chelsea's last pre-season game against Lyon, which ended at 0-0 after 90 minutes and with a 5-4 win on penalties, as Ampadu shines again, Eden Hazard, N'Golo Kante, Olivier Giroud and Gary Cahill return as Rob Green makes his unofficial debut for the club. To find out everything about these transfer news and tonight's game in detail, make sure you watch the video until the end. Hello there guys and welcome back to 100% Chelsea from a review of the Chelsea vs Lyon game in the International Champions Cup that ended at 0-0 after 90 minutes, but Chelsea did manage to win on penalties with 5-4, plus also some very pressing transfer news of the day. Of course, we're covering all the latest transfer news and also, we did cover all the pre-season games, and obviously the Premier League starts, we will cover all of those. If you don't want to miss out on any of that, do make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea if you haven't already. We would massively appreciate that. And also, let's see whether we can hit 700 or more likes on this video. That'd be absolute class, so make sure you smash the like button down below. It just means quite a lot to us, basically. But now, getting straight into the transfer news to start off with. All of us at the channel have been quite busy over these last few days, so we couldn't get any transfer shows out to you. But as you probably know, Thibaut Courtois has gone AWOL, meaning absent without leave, as he didn't report to training both yesterday and today, unlike all the other players basically, trying to force a move to Real Madrid. Jack Butland looked like the most likely replacement, and I was already, looking at penthouses I could rent out so I could jump out of this window, just because I would have been so annoyed basically about us signing Jack Butland. But out of nowhere, Chelsea, according to very reliable reports actually, have triggered Athletic Bilbao's 23-year-old goalkeeper, Kepa Arrizabalaga, very difficult name to pronounce, release clause of £71 million or 80 million euros. And he is a very good keeper actually. Some minor weaknesses at commanding his box and coming out for crosses maybe, but very composed, good with his feet and great on the line both from close range and from long range shots as well. He has been spotted at Madrid airport, apparently on his way to London, where he is said to have arrived by now as well, having his medical tomorrow apparently. Let's just wait and see whether that comes true or not, but that's what's being said at the moment. More detail about him and, about him as a player will, of course, we will speak about, of course, when the deal does, or if the does, gets officially confirmed. It is also looking like Chelsea will get Real Madrid's Mateo Kovacic on loan with an option to buy at the end of the season. At least that's what Chelsea want, and that's what the player wants as well. Madrid for now only seem to be open to a loan move without an option to buy, although that might change the second we give them Courtois. Basically, it is a smart move by Chelsea, in my opinion, if we do that. Getting a midfielder that Sarri apparently likes, when Sarri has even said publicly that he wants another midfielder, and we're getting him for free, for now at least, and therefore opening up funds to spend more on a goalkeeper, as we're kind of being forced to right now, if we don't want someone like Jack Butland. Kovacic is from Croatia, 24 years of age, only started 10 games for Real Madrid last season, but he is a good little player. I mean, Real Madrid have a stacked midfield. I mean, they have Casemiro, they have Toni Kroos, they have Luka Modric. So, it's very tricky to get into that midfield. You can't really say that about our midfield, even though we have some good players in there. But, he can play in both the right and the left side of our midfield three, I reckon. And especially on loan, there's not much risk to it, really. So I'd certainly be in favour of it. And also, there have been quite a few, and, some more and some less strong reports about Nabil Fekir from Lyon actually joining us as well this window. I mean, I spoke about us being linked to him a few weeks back already, and didn't see it as very likely then, but reports are saying that talks between the two clubs took place all day today and that things are actually looking quite good. Of course, there is different versions as to why he's not at Liverpool right now. I mean, apparently he was there, took pictures, had a squad number and all sorts, but there is kind of different stories. Some people say, basically failed his medical there. But I've also read that apparently Lyon just pulled the plug simply because Liverpool weren't willing to meet Lyon's transfer fee demands. Don't know which one is true. In all honesty, I don't know. And I still don't fully see where Fekir would really fit into our system. Only really as a striker option, I suppose, as a second or third striker or whatever. And in that hamstring role. But he's never really played in that hamstring role. And he certainly would take some adapting to play in an attacking centre midfield role rather than his standard centre attacking midfield role. And like I said in the video I made about him a few weeks ago, I don't see him as a winger. So let's just say whether that happens or not. But, if we actually manage to sign those three players in these last 2 days before the transfer window shuts, fair fucking play to Chelsea, fair fucking play. But if it's just Kepa, let's just stick with Kepa, not his surname, because that's way too much of a tongue twister. And Kovacic, I'll also be fairly happy if we add Fekir to that. I mean, if Sarri wants him, go for it. But, I'd be very happy with that. But now actually getting into the game, which is why we're here. But obviously these rumours are quite big, so they had to be talked about. And starting with the lineup, and of course, Basically, none of the players that started on Sunday against Manchester City featured or started at least today. Of course, we went with a 4-3-3 again. It was Marcin Bulka, the young Polish keeper, in goal. David Zappacosta and Emerson Palmieri, the two fullbacks, with Christensen and Amparo, the two centre-backs. A midfield three of Danny Drinkwater, Timur Bakayoko and Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Then a front three of Willian and Moses on the wings and Tammy Abraham starting up front. Drinkwater actually started in that deep-lying playmaker position, in that regista position of Jorginho basically, with Bakayoko on the right and Loftus-Cheek on the left and most attacking of the midfield three. But basically the whole rest of the squad was on the bench except Charlie Musonda, who was in action for the development squad, and I'm pretty sure will either be loaned out or sold, because if he can't even make that game, basically Sarri clearly has no use for him. But it did include the likes of Eden Hazard, N'Golo Kanté, Batshuayi, Gary Cahill, Olivier Giroud. All of those, that started training, after the World Cup yesterday, all of those were on the bench. While Lyon actually fielded a pretty strong team with pretty much their best front three, including former Blue Bertrand Traoré, Memphis Depay, formerly of Manchester United, and ex-Real Madrid, Mariano Diaz. Of course, Nabil Fekir wasn't there after the World Cup. I think that's why he wasn't there anyway. But yeah, getting into the game, it was quite a lively start to the game actually. As Loftus-Cheek made a great run from midfield, entering the box with a 1-2 with Willian, but then not managing to play the ball across the box to Abraham. And also Lyon had a decent shot from, quite long range basically, but only just about, put it wide of the post. But after that, actually chances became a bit of a rarity. A pretty even game in all honesty. But, there were no chances for a good half an hour or something, because Lyon were the first ones to really create a big chance in the game when Depay got a very good curling shot towards the far post away, but Bulka made a very good save to keep that one out. But around that half an hour mark is when Lyon started to create a few more chances, and including a volley that they put just a tiny bit wide, and another one where their forward ended up being one-on-one with Bulka basically from a bit of a tighter angle, but he did end up putting the ball wide of the far post. Chelsea really didn't create any chances, or not many anyway, even though we played some quite nice football in a lot of, situations, but we made things a bit more difficult for ourselves in all honesty. As when we were in good positions, we just never managed to complete that last and decisive pass. And also adding to that, except Danny Drinkwater on the odd occasion, we also looked very reluctant to shoot from distance, even when getting into good positions to do so, probably due to instructions from Sarri though to work on his passing style of play rather than shooting in a friendly, and rather getting used to keeping the ball in tight areas and, passing it around quickly and creating chances that way. Our first real big chance of the game came in the last minute of the first half really, when Willian struck a very nice free kick from a good 20-25 yards out, but Lyon keeper Lopez went flying to make a good save and keep the ball out, and that was then basically half-time at 0-0. And overall, it was a fairly boring but even first half, although Lyon certainly had created more chances for themselves. Loftus-Cheek looked quite good, but certainly struggled to do all the midfield work by himself, because Bakayoko was just totally invisible, which you could actually say is a good thing, but that means he didn't really make a mistake. But Danny Drinkwater just didn't play very well either. Amparo yet again looked quality, totally outshining Andreas Christensen in that first half. Much more of a presence in that defence, more vocal, more commanding, way more touches of the ball as well. And yes, he's been in training for a good while longer than Christensen has after the World Cup, of course, but still, very impressive from the 17-year-old Welshman. But the main criticism of that first half has to go to Victor Moses, in my opinion. I'm sorry, but as a winger, he's just absolutely useless and does absolutely fuck all, basically. I mean, unless Sarri changes his mind and starts using him as a right back, we might as well sell him in all honesty, although we could obviously do with a fifth, winger option behind Hazard, William, Pedro, and Hudson-Odoi, as it doesn't really look like we're going to sign any wingers. Zaha is possibly still on the horizon, but I very much doubt it, so maybe we could just use Moses as that fifth option if we do struggle with injuries or, just massive rotation or just, suspensions or something. But, if we don't intend to use him for that a lot, could also sell him, I suppose. No changes were actually made at half-time by Maurizio Sarri, but in the second half, Chelsea certainly had the better start, even though Depay actually came, got the first chance of the second half and came pretty close to scoring after Bakayoko, made a pretty silly mistake in all honesty. But straight, from that attack by Lyon, Depay almost scoring, Loftus-Cheek on the other end found himself having a great chance that he made for himself with a great first touch, ending up being one-on-one with the keeper from a tight angle as well. Ruben chipped the keeper, but annoyingly the ball hit the outside of the post and went out of play. Then in the 58th minute, all of N'Golo Kanté, Jorginho and Ross Barkley came on for Danny Drinkwater, Bakayoko and Loftus-Cheek. So obviously Kanté, basically playing for the first time in this pre-season after just returning after the World Cup. To be honest, I was a bit annoyed that Ruben Loftus-Cheek had to come off as well. Would have loved to see him next to Kanté and Jorginho. But the three coming on might be the starters against Huddersfield on Saturday in that midfield three. So maybe that's why Sarri, put all of them three on. So, to see them play together, basically. With just over an hour played, N'Golo Kanté actually found himself with a big chance inside the box after a great ball by Jorginho. But the World Cup winner had his shot saved by the keeper probably should have done a little bit better there, but at the end of the day, scoring isn't exactly Kante's forte, is it? In the 67th minute, we continue with our substitutions as Lucas Piazon, Olivier Giroud and Eden Hazard came on to replace the starting front three of Tammy Abraham, Victor Moses and Willian. And to be honest, when Giroud came on, rather than Batshuayi, I just went, what the fuck is going on? Like, sorry for swearing right now, but what the fuck is going on? Like, I'm sorry, Maurizio, but I want explanations here as to what on earth Batshuayi must be doing so wrong in training at Chelsea to be an absolute goal machine at Dortmund, but to be behind Giroud at Chelsea. Now, that just makes absolutely no sense to me. Like, I think Batshuayi could be really good on the Sarri system, but he doesn't even use him. I mean, I don't know if, and maybe he has a minor injury, I don't know about that. But if he doesn't, what on earth's going on? And 5 minutes after that, Chelsea made the last few substitutions of the day as Chelsea subbed off the whole back five of defenders and goalkeeper as Azpilicueta, Alonso, Rudiger, the returning Gary Cahill and new signing third-choice goalkeeper Rob Green came on for Davide Zappacosta, Emerson, Ampadu, Christensen and also Martin Bulka. That happened around the 70-minute mark and that was basically it for the game. Nothing happened. Like literally nothing. No chances for either side. Some minor, tiny bit, half chances really. But nothing worth mentioning in all honesty. And the game ended at 0-0. I'd like to say more, but there just isn't anything to say in all honesty. And as we did in the previous 2 games in the International Champions Cup, we did go to penalties. We won it 5-4, as you can see from the title, of course. And our 5 penalty takers were Jorginho, Ross Barkley, Alonso, Azpilicueta, and Eden Hazard was the one that won it. After Rob Green saved Lyon's penalty, who did go first in the penalty shootout. That was taken by Diop, however the way you pronounce that. But, you know, we won the penalty shootout, great. Not that it really matters, but, you know, that was it for the game. And that was also it for our pre-season. 1 win in 90 minutes versus Perth Glory at the start. 2 wins on penalties versus Inter and Lyon. 1 defeat on penalties to Arsenal. And obviously the Community Shield defeat to Manchester City last Sunday. And the main concern right now has to be not scoring / missing chances really. But that is down to us changing the system completely. And scoring goals from a defensive system is a completely different thing to scoring goals in an attacking system. Like you just have to do things differently. These players are not used to that. Some of them might be. And also, you know, especially the likes of Hazard and Kante without, you know, just giving us balance coming back will make a huge difference to that. But like I said before, the first month or 2 will be very tricky under Maurizio Sarri. Also at Napoli, it took Sarri 5 to 7 games to sort of properly get things going. Although, I think in his 3rd game or so, they smacked Lazio 5-0. So if we could smack Arsenal 5-0, you know, just, you know, in week 2 of the Premier League, that'd be very good. I mean, I mentioned a few players that played in the second half, the likes of Hazard and Giroud, certainly are still looking for their fitness. They're certainly not fully there yet. Kante, actually, he looked quite good already. Looking quick, looking sharp, and actually getting into attacking positions on a regular basis. Like, he was playing like a madman. I mean, I don't know if that was something that Sarri has planned for him consistently or not, but he was getting into a lot of attacking positions today. But now it is time for the Premier League, with our first game being away at Huddersfield on Saturday afternoon, of course. I mean, my preview, including my predicted lineup for that game, will of course be out on Friday afternoon, as it always is, including obviously Sarri's comments in his first pre-match press conference in the Premier League. But for now, let's see if and who we're going to sign in the last 2 days of the transfer window. Is it going to be Kepa? Again, let's just stick with Kepa. Kovacic on loan, maybe Nabil Fekir, maybe someone else, Zaha possibly. Who knows? Let's just wait and see. But yeah, that's really it from me. Leave me all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Of course, on the transfer news that I spoke about at the beginning and the game as well. What did you make of, I don't know, the likes of Loftus-Cheek, Ampadu, Tammy Abraham? Just leave me all of your thoughts on the game down in the comment section below. Like I said in the beginning, let's see whether we can hit 700 or more likes in this video. Obviously, the more the better, but we massively appreciate it. So make sure you smash the like button down below. And also don't forget to check out my social media, which is Last1507 on both Instagram and Twitter, as you can see over here. And also the links to both of them are down in the description below. So if you could follow me over there, I would massively appreciate it. And of course, I mean, this is YouTube. I constantly say this, but we just have to say this. If you haven't already, do make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea. And also don't forget to click the notification bell button and choose to be notified about all uploads so you don't miss any of our future videos. Thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea. It's time for the Premier League. And I'll see you next time.